Hello everyone and welcome back to AP Bio with AP Playground. Today we're covering topic 1.3, Introduction to Biological Macromolecules. Objectives today include knowing what a macromolecule is and then, of course, the two most important chemical reactions of Unit 1, hydrolysis and dehydration synthesis. And suggested skill is visual representations. 2A, describe characteristics of a biological concept, process, or model represented visually. First up, we got to talk about monomers and polymers. And to talk about that, we have to talk about macromolecules, which are large molecules, macro meaning large, which take part in necessary elements of life and which consist of monomers. So a macromolecule is going to be a large molecule that has building blocks within it, and those are going to be known as monomers. Monomers are the building blocks which form polymers, the macromolecules. And so it's often considered that like a monomer is like a Lego brick that then puts together a large construction, which would be the polymer. And we have four major macromolecules: carbohydrates, proteins or amino acids, nucleic acids, and lipids. And lipids technically aren't considered macromolecules, but because of their importance to life, they're going to be included within these four major macromolecules category. Now, it's important to know the CHOMP rule, which is extremely helpful in determining the different components that a macromolecule is made up of. So carbohydrates and lipids are both made up of CHO, and these are the essential elements that we discussed in topic 1.2. Carbohydrates and lipids are made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Proteins have CHON. They also are made up of nitrogen. And lastly, we have nucleic acids, which are made up of CHONP, and they include phosphorus into the biological mix that makes up the macromolecule. Now onto our chemical reactions. Firstly, we have dehydration synthesis. So let's talk about the different parts of these words. So dehydrate, we should know what that means. We're removing water. And synthesis is forming something, making it. So by removing water, we're making something. And so we can look here that different monomers are going to connect through covalent bonds formed through dehydration synthesis, forming a polymer or macromolecule. And we'll discuss in more detail these specific monomers in future videos, but here I have a monomer of a carbohydrate and a monomer of an amino acid or protein. And so these are going to connect through covalent bonds formed through dehydration synthesis. So over here we have two glucose molecules, and when we take a hydroxyl group from one and a hydrogen atom from the other, that's going to form water, H2O, and that allows for bonding through this oxygen molecule. So by removing a molecule of water, we have created a covalent bond, meaning the electrons are shared between these two glucose molecules, forming a maltose molecule. And again, all we've done is removed water in order to create a polymer. Now, hydrolysis is the reverse. Hydro meaning water and lysis meaning break. It's the opposite of dehydration synthesis. You break bonds using water. So let's do the reverse of the example in the previous slide. We have our maltose molecule, and when we add a molecule of water to it, then it's going to split up back into two glucose molecules because one oxygen is going to get its hydrogen atom back, and the other glucose molecule is going to get the hydroxyl group back, consisting of the oxygen bound to a hydrogen. So these are the two major reactions that are going to allow macromolecules to be built and then break apart to allow for the storage of energy within the bonds and then the release of that energy, and they're just very crucial to understand overall for this unit of AP Bio. So, introduction to biological macromolecules review. You've got to know the four macromolecules: carbohydrates, proteins or amino acids, lipids, and nucleic acids. It's helpful as well to know the CHOMP rule and the essential elements that each macromolecule is made up of, and you definitely, absolutely need to know dehydration synthesis, and hydrolysis. We'll see you in 1.4 carbohydrates.